Yesterday, I opened the National School Games and met many different athletes. And I managed to meet a few athletes who were competing in cricket. I've never had cricket during my time, so I'm sure it is an India influence. Mr. Jawed Ashraf, High Commissioner of the Republic of India, Ms. Jessica Tan, MP for East Coast GRC, and Mr. Gan Tiempo, MP for Ang Mo Kio GRC, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first extend my heartiest congratulations to everyone present today, and especially Indian nationals present today for India's 71st Republic Day. The day commemorates the coming into force of the Indian Constitution 3 years after India first gained its independence in 1947. Congratulations. The Indian Constitution is a remarkable piece of work. It established the critical institutions of India's democracy and laid out the various powers, checks and balances amongst institutions at the center and between the center and the states. It encapsulated the vision that the founding fathers had for India as a vibrant, diverse, and secular country, allowing its multitude of languages, religions, and cultures to coexist and to flourish. Singapore, as a small island state that straddles major trade routes and an immigrant society, we share the same outlook, and that is probably the greatest similarity between our countries. But through diversity, through differences, we forge common space, and through diversity, we engender unity. Beyond this shared outlook, Singapore and India enjoy a long history of engagement that predates our establishment as independent countries. Our interactions can be traced back to the 10th century, more than 1,000 years ago. So Singapore actually has 1,000 years of history, and it started with a lot of India's influence. So what used to be Indian influence or presence now has become Singaporean. Tamil Muslims, for example, established Singapore's first vernacular press. South Indian Chettiars were a source of credit and banking even before the advent of European banks in the 19th century. And they actually have a fabulous temple in the middle of the city. And of course, Singapura itself is Sanskrit. Today, as we both pursue our developmental paths, we continue to collaborate and leverage each other's strength. These include the Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement, or CECA, in 2005, and the recent inclusion of Bangalore in the Global Innovation Alliance Network for Startups. The Singapore-India Youth Hackathon, actually this is Prime Minister Modi's brainchild, has brought youth from both countries to solve real-life problems in innovative ways. Actually, it was during one of Prime Minister Modi's visit to Singapore, and I was his ministers in attendance, that he raised this idea with Prime Minister Lee. And the day after he made a visit to NTU, I thought it was a good idea, so I asked the NTU president, should we not follow up? He said yes, so on the spot we decided, let's do this. And it was decided on the spot. And as High Commissioner mentioned, last year in September, I was in Chennai for the at IIT for the hackathon prize-giving ceremony, and Prime Minister Modi was there again. And so in my speech, I said that next year we should include ASEAN universities in this hackathon. And in his reply, in his speech, Prime Minister Modi agreed. So it teaches me one thing: when PM Modi is around, decisions are made very quickly. Yeah. So therefore, this year's edition of the hackathon will include students from ASEAN universities, which will further enrich the participants' experience. And there are so many areas that we are cooperating on: in trade, in investments, in arts and culture, in education, in R&D, in defense, in yoga, in cricket. But there are a couple of bright areas that I'm personally very interested in that I think we can work more closely together. We share a common belief in the need to invest in our people, deepen their skills, develop their abilities to do their jobs well, and master their craft. Singapore has skills future. India has skill India. Both are strategic long-term national initiatives to help our people adapt and embrace a rapidly changing economic and job landscape. We can partner India in this effort. We are small, we have limited resources, but Singapore is known to be very serious in whatever we do, sometimes too serious, and very credible in what we want to deliver. So our efforts hopefully can generate a salutary and catalytic effect throughout India. ITE Education Services, a company under ITE, has been collaborating closely with various Indian states on this front. Their first project was to set up the World-Class Skills Center in New Delhi, and this was in 2013. And since then, they have established similar centers in Udaipur, Rajasthan, and Guwahati in Assam. There are also ongoing projects underway in Bhubaneswar, Odisha, and in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. I have visited two centers, the one in Delhi and the one in Udaipur, and I'm very encouraged by the developments there. And even more encouraging is the forthcoming support of the corporate sector to set up and operate skill centers. And I met so many corporates who want to do this, who want to devote resources into setting up skill centers in India because they want to uplift the masses, they want to uplift workers. And I wish I can see more corporates behaving like that in Singapore, and that is most admirable. These centers can help multiple segments of Indian society, from young minds to mid-career professionals, develop relevant skills and secure good jobs. It is a meaningful and valuable contribution to India's human capital development and uplifting of people's lives. Singapore can also continue to serve as an incubation base for Indian startups. I note that at last year's Slingshot Startup Competition, which coincided with the Singapore FinTech Festival, Indian startups were one of the largest sources of participation. And this is not surprising, for India is a country brimming with startup talent, and Singapore is a platform for access for the large and growing market in ASEAN. And we can work together further by considering joint incubation programs in Singapore. For example, in our JTC Launchpad facility, we can translate brilliant ideas from India into commercial projects that can tap into the ASEAN market. This is also in line with our strategic partnership agreement signed in 2015, wherein innovation is stated as a key pillar of our collaboration. And conversely, more can be done to encourage Singaporean businesses to look at opportunities in India. Singapore is the largest foreign investor in India. Businesses such as DBS, PSA, CapitaLand have made significant inroads into the Indian market. CapitaLand, for example, runs 9 business and industrial parks in India. As India commemorates the 71st anniversary of its founding as a republic, it looks ahead, too, to a very bright future. A future founded on a more interconnected and globalized world, effective functioning of regional and multilateral institutions, technology that is put to good use to benefit our people, freer trade, freer flow of data. It also requires a people who are resilient and adaptable to the knowledge and skills demands of a new economic and new digital era, who possesses broad minds and general hearts to embrace diversity and rise averse vitriol and hate. With our long-standing relations built over decades of strong common interests and common worldviews, our relationship is well poised to be elevated to even higher levels. I would like to once again congratulate India on the occasion of its 71st Republic Day. High Commissioner, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, following the national anthem, I would like to propose a toast to His Excellency Ramnath Kovind, the President of the Republic of India.
कर शुभ आशीष मांगे, गाजे तब जय गाथा। जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता।